I hope you all can hear me. I just would like to have a confirmation. I forgot to check. Let me check now. Hold on 1 second. Check. Yeah, it's working fine. I hope you all can hear me clearly. Thank you for being patient. Somehow I turned on without checking that my microphone is plugged in, and it's now plugged in. It's running fine. It gives me a lot of grief that so many people, when you see this slide presentation, you will see that the number of people who have been cheated in the promise of getting into United States, it is running into thousands. And the amount of money they have spent, and how they have sold their family silver, land, whatever. Where is this madness coming from? What are you going to get? Because America is not as prosperous as it used to be. You just have to talk to somebody who has lived here for a few years, and they'll tell you, yeah, you make more money, but it doesn't translate into that multiplied by the exchange rate of the dollar. No, the cost of living is quite high. Anyway, I'm just running here. Let's go take a look at what is going on, because some disturbing allegations are coming out, and every ED has evidence of what has happened. And it all started with one family dying of freeze, because their handlers dumped them and ran away, because there must have been some sort of a raid. Whatever happened, they hid somewhere and they froze to death. Husband, wife, and 2 children. That's where the whole thing started, and ED got into it and started looking into it. They busted the network, but there is a lot that needs to be discussed. So with your permission, I'd like to show you a small slide deck on what has happened thus far, and a small request to all of you to like this video. I have a bunch of reference links. Please go through that. This is still a developing story. Canada has a lot of questions to answer. So many universities are named in it, 260. Canada's population, how can it have so many colleges? How many of these are sham? That's my other question. So a lot of stuff has gone and taken place, and let me just show you what the slide deck is saying. Many questions unanswered. Here we go. 260 Canada colleges involved in human trafficking. So what had happened? In January 2022, like I said, a Gujarati family of 4, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪 Patel, 39, his wife 𝗦𝗫𝗨, 35, their 11-year-old daughter and their 3-year-old son froze to death while trying to cross the US-Canada border illegally. Everybody got a punch to their gut, but people said, oh, well, they should have not tried it. And everybody forgot about it. Like every other news cycle, people come, read something, and then you feel bad for a short while, and then it just goes away. So what happened? ED, the Enforcement Directorate, understood that there may be something going on from the India side. Where they got this link, it's just amazing that they found that this thing had originated from India. After all, they were trying to get into the United States through Canada. And you know that India forced Canada to shut down its Chandigarh consulate. There may be some things that were going on there that probably India showed to Canada, saying that not everything here is all roses. It is stinking. So there are many things that the ED hasn't revealed, but certainly the fact that Canada has not rebutted this tells you that there is something really wrong. Now, what happened was, after this, the ED launched a money laundering investigation, and the probe has uncovered vast international human trafficking network. The network also included 260 Canadian colleges. At this time, they have not revealed the name, but the fact that there is loud silence from Canada tells you that there is something rotten in the state of Canada too. Migrants used student visa. I mean, a 39-year-old with 2 kids, getting back into academics is tough, guys. Why did the colleges not do some checking? When did he study last? What was his credentials? What was he trying to enroll for? How can a university give admission just like that? So I am trying, once I start looking at this, I'm having more and more questions, because the admission process that I am aware of is quite strict. You have to be qualified. In other words, if you want to pursue a postgraduate degree in a particular field, you should have had an undergraduate degree in that field. If not, you need to go through hoops to get some sort of a clarity, confirmation that you are fit enough, you're able enough to take that particular degree or pursue that degree. Like, for example, somebody could be a civil engineer, but he could be programming, and then after 10 years of experience, they could make a successful case for saying that now I want to get a master's in computer science because I have been a computer scientist for the last 10 years. That adds up. But as to how so many, once I give you the numbers, it's going to blow your mind. So instead of colleges, these individuals were smuggled across the US-Canada border into the United States. If you remember, the person who is the border czar now under the incoming Trump administration, he said as much, saying that the illegal trafficking coming into United States from Canada is far more worrisome than what is coming in through Mexico. So these are borders where many places they don't even have an outpost. For example, I talked to you about how I think close to 200 to 500 illegal immigrants were bussed out of a hotel in New York City to the border of Canada, and then they stopped by a creek where it's a very shallow creek. One side is US, the other side is Canada, and they just crossed the creek, and the NGOs from Canada were waiting to give them food, lodging, everything. So very clear planned operation on part of the NGOs, who many of them allege that these are funds of the United States government. In other words, your and my money. If you are a US taxpayer, that's why I'm saying that. You don't have to be a US citizen. You just have to pay taxes in US and you become a US taxpayer. H1, you pay taxes. Student, if you're making money, you have to pay taxes. If you are a green card holder, of course you pay taxes. So a lot of taxpayer money has been spent here in a sleight of hand way. I don't know when that route is going to be shut completely. I've told you about where Equality Labs got its funding from, who are the dubious people running this entity called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Foundation, and so on and so forth. I can go on, guys. That's a topic that I've done extensive research on. Let's get back to where it is now. So people who try to get into United States, they have paid 50 to 60 lakhs. If you're coming from a tier 2 or a tier 3, I can't imagine that people who are living in Mumbai or Delhi or some of the metropolis would do something foolish like this. This would have to be tier 2, tier 3 cities who are essentially looking at all these sweetened Bollywood movies and what have you, thinking that, oh, I have a great future awaiting me in United States or Canada or in Europe, what have you, right? So if you are going to be from a smaller town, then 50 to 60 lakhs is essentially, your real estate or your silverware or your gold or whatever it is that you've made in your life. Why are you risking all these things? I know why they're thinking this. They're probably immediately calculating, oh, this translates to so many $1,000, which I can make in so many years, 1 year, 2 year, whatever. So all done. But look at the upside. After that, I'm going to be making, again, they do the same math. So much dollars in salary, they'll multiply it by 85 or whatever the current exchange rate is and say, oh, I'm going to be making so much money all my life. Unfortunately, this is not true. But by the time you realize all this, it is too late. Anyway, I don't want to be going on why you should immigrate, especially illegally to US. I would definitely want you to try immigrating legally. Have a job in hand, then come here. Absolutely, much better lifestyle then. Anyway, if you pay 50 to 60 lakhs and then you take this student path, then you are essentially going down this route and you are in the hands of people who think that they can get you safely across the US. And as to what happens once you reach US, I don't know. Maybe they have some connect with some NGO organizations who can then connect you up with at least, the usual $2,000 upon entry illegal. You get stamped and then it is just downhill, if you ask me. Anyway, so the ED conducted searches on December 10th and 19th at 8 locations in Mumbai, Nagpur, Gandhinagar, and Vadodara. The investigations revealed that 2 agents in Mumbai and Nagpur facilitated migration of 35,000 individuals annually with 1,700 agents in Gujarat and 3,500 across India. See, I told you, this could not have happened in Metropolis. Kids do have a little bit of idea about how the admission process goes on. But if you go out, spread out to the rural parts of India and then start selling them all these dreams, and give them that, dangle the number which is within their reach, 50-60 lakhs, people say, mushkil hai, but you can get money from here and there, borrow money from your relatives maybe, but a great life awaits in US without understanding or knowing how you can get employed and how you can make your living. So despite efforts to dismantle this network, over 800 agents are still active. So out of 1,700, only half have been identified and perhaps shut down. There are still almost half remaining. Who is the kingpin? His name is 𝗣𝗚𝗚𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏. He is identified as a primary accused along with several others, and he is the one being investigated for orchestrating a human trafficking company or conspiracy. The ED has filed a case under Prevention of Money Laundering Act based on an FIR from Ahmedabad police. Now, this is not all. So one problem you have is this. The other problem is when they are actually being caught coming into the United States. Even Biden administration has started cracking down in the past few months once there was an uproar about how many people were illegally entering United States. So 14,000 Indian migrants were stopped at the US-Canada border in the past 365 days. Now, the United States estimates about 725,000 undocumented Indians are currently residing in the country. So just do the math, 15 million, right? 15 million is 1.5 crores, and this is 7 lakhs. And now if 1 in 6 human beings is an Indian, right? So if you say 1.5 crores, then 1 in 6, that should be a much bigger number than what we are talking about, 7 lakhs. But it is par for the course. Means like across the world, people are trying to make a beeline towards United States by hook or crook. Unfortunately, the crooked ones get caught. Now, how did the Canadian colleges come into the picture? It is alleged that they received payments from this racket and they funneled them back to the agents. Because what happens is, maybe they enrolled for a semester there. And after that, they dropped out. Something really funny happened. Because see, once you enroll in a semester, you pay the fees and enroll in for a semester, then they expect you to show up to classes every day or every third day. It's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. That is the schedule for most classes. You are expected to come, take your classes, finish the course, and go on to the next one. After all, you are pursuing a degree, isn't it? So somewhere that thing has been broken, and looks like once they pay the fees, somehow a part of that is going back to the agent. So there are moles within these 260 organizations. Who are they? Now, Canada's immigration policies have come under the scrutiny. I've been telling you about this, about how the number of students that are enrolled, it is running into lakhs now from India. These are legal students, by the way. What we are talking about is illegal. So you have two parallel tracks, legal student body and illegal student body that are studying in Canada. Now, the other interesting fact that has emerged is, looks like in one of his forays back into Canada, because Niger tried to enter Canada more than once. In one of his forays, he came in as a student. I mean, you can make the argument that, look, the man was 35 years old. He decided that he wanted to get back to academics, to get trained, to get modernized, what have you. I mean, he was a plumber after all. Maybe the latest in plumbing technology in Arctic temperatures. I mean, I'm just making this up here. So he also came in as a student. So this is not something that Canada has, suddenly loosened the strings or something like that. This has been happening for a long time. Now, at last count, as of December 2023, you want to know how many students are studying in Canada? 1 million. Of course, of which about 40% are from India. 40%. That's why I told, in my other monologues about Canadian students to tell parents that, look, wait for some time, wait for the dust to settle. This is not sustainable, and what is going on is too dangerous for you to send your children now. And I'm hearing that the admission as a percentage into the next year has fallen by as much as 60%. So clearly, many are getting this news and they are deciding to wait it out to see what happens at the end of the day. But think about the money that legal students have put in. Many of them are going to be illegal and they'll have to fly back to India. So lots of headwinds coming your way, unfortunately. Now, let's take a look at the sheer numbers. 427,000 students from India, and they are contributing approximately $18 billion. I did this math once. I mean, per year, the cost is $36,000 in Canada. And the same thing perhaps in United States is costing about 60,000, much higher number. So I can understand that people like to say, Canada is close enough and the border is porous enough. So somebody has given a good, nice story. You just see, you come in as a student, you enroll. After some time, we'll quietly let you slip you into United States. And there are people who will take care of it. And they might even have some phone calls and video calls even to show you that life will be great once you get into the United States. Very elaborate scheme has been plotted, I'm afraid, and a very elaborate scheme has been hatched, and many people got suckered into it. That's all I can say. So now the other bigger interesting fact here is international education contributes close to $22 billion annually to Canadian economy, supporting over 200,000 jobs. So now this has become an industry. In other words, many Canadian universities might close shop if this all these avenues are closed, and then suddenly you'll have a body of unemployed teachers and professors. Well, that's Canada's problem. They should have managed it better. And again, this could be one other thing that the incoming Conservative government, whenever that happens, will have to inherit and see how they can best solve this thing. So this exploitation of Canada's student visa system is something that is this, and this will not be only one. I can assure you there will be at least 5 or 6, and we'll just have to wait and see. This is the beginning of what I think is a huge network of illegal immigration into the United States through the Canadian education system. See, what people like Trump will do is they'll just put a blanket ban. No degree from Canada will be accepted, even degree. I'm not talking about somebody who has just done one semester, enrolled for one semester and tried to smuggle in. Even legal routes will be shut down. This is where the problem comes. Even if you did everything right, dotted every I, crossed every T, paid all your semester fees, put down your head, you studied, got a good degree, got a good grade, but you will not be able to apply for jobs in US because US would have put a blanket ban. I hope it won't come to that, but I'm afraid when you have so many cases where things are like all over the place, right? The best thing to do is first put a moratorium, put a ban, and then slowly figure it out. And then you have some metrics that you can say, okay, if a certain student did these things, then the metrics pass. Okay, these software can easily weed out all these things. So I hope something like that will happen and no blanket ban. But anyway, so this is where things are now. Canada needs to buckle down, tighten its immigration controls. If you create loopholes, so people are going to drive a truck through it. This is what is the bigger problem. And I hope that this monologue helps those parents who are still making up their minds whether they want to send their children abroad for studies. Because again, I think Canada is not the only country where something like this has happened. I think you might find some other countries also where such problems exist. That's all I have. Let me take some questions now. Just give me a few moments so I can line up all the questions. Quite a few of you are expressing your concerns. So some other countries also are being questioned here. So I'll just give you a 20,000-foot view. Thank you. So here are some of the observations. Sanjay, thank you so much for your super sticker. Elmo D'Souza wants to know, the US to Canada porous crossing in 𝗟𝗙 is known as Roxton Road. It's a shallow nalla without water. Majority of the people crossing into Canada come through this crossing and are greeted by Canada. So much information there. Thank you so much, Elmo. Look, I'm not against immigration. I want legal immigration, because legal immigration also guarantees that you will have a certain standard of living. Coming in illegal, all bets are off, guys. Look at what happened. That family froze to death, not knowing where to go, because they didn't know where to go, because they knew that their coyotes are the people who handle, or the ones who help you get across, they vanished because they knew there was a raid coming. So when you are caught like a deer in headlights, what are you going to do? Looks like they just stayed put and they froze to death. What a horrible, horrible end. So anyway, so this is where things stand now, and I hope people don't jump into this thing and go, I have to go abroad because India isn't good enough. Look, I don't think so. I'm spending more and more time in India, and I am very happy with how things are in India. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskar, reports indicate that Trudeau's days were numbered and he would resign soon, but the days are indeed getting longer and he's surviving. Wonder if he would really go. Actually, Magnet Ranga, if something should have happened, that should have happened when the parliament was in session and they ran the clock out. They ran the clock out means like, slow batting, if you will. I mean, you've got the last pair is in the middle and you bat slowly so that the time runs out and the day is out. That's what they have done. And 𝗥𝗘𝗙 is a real character there. He says one thing and he does the exact opposite. So Trudeau is hanging by a thread, but they are still hanging by a thread. My guess is that he will hang as long as possible to at least try and get some more objective, because you clearly know it's not Trudeau who's running Canada. It's a cabal that is running Canada. Who knows what other objectives they have? Then he'll make sure that those are all done, and he'll also create some more mess for the incoming Conservative government, assuming that the Conservative government gets a clear majority. I just hope that that's all that happens and not worse than this. Now, Anandan Doreswamy wants to know, Sree, I smell a rat in similar scam in Australian international education, higher education system. There will be a day soon where such covert operations may be unearthed. Please alert. Yes, Anandan, I have heard a few things. That's why I hinted, but I need some concrete proof that something is amiss. We need actual hard evidence. I'm sure what's going to happen is Australia also will start restricting its admissions. But this is a carrot and stick kind of a problem. If there are not enough students enrolling from within Australia and the universities are there built up for a certain amount of capacity, what do? They go to a country which has a lot of population, aspiring middle class. That's how this thing starts, innocently enough. But it needs to make sure that everybody is legally entering another country for studies. I have no problem with them staying on to take up jobs and settling down there, but make sure that everything is legal. Now, that's all I have questions. An interesting aside from Sanjay, plumbing technology in Arctic region. I just love your wit. I couldn't help it, guys. I mean, when somebody is a terrorist, gun-toting terrorist, he's been trained by the ISI, and he comes in and goes out of India all the time, and they say this guy is a martyr. Come on now. You got to have a little bit better imagination than that, Trudeau. Anyway, that's about Niger. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.